Still two riders. Geraint Thomas, Richie Port making his way further up towards the front. It will not be a big group as they come over the top of the Sulur. There's a big split.
Yes. Matt Nedvahani, the Eritrean national champion, had an opportunity yesterday to have a good...
Riders you wouldn't expect to be in contention on this stage. Simon Clark, number 93, in the pink and purple of Daryl Impey. Luke Durbridge, 102. The 92, Alberto Bettiol, winner of the Tour of Flanders.
This group just getting itself organised. This is Michael Matthews now in the red colours, that familiar figure. Colours from the Koenig Quick Step. Next one going backwards, that's Anthony Roux, former French national champion.
Rosetto Perez, always together.
Roman Bardet is in this group, so no, that's Mikel Chirel. I thought it was Bardet for a moment, that was Mikel still in that.
Also overboard, Oliveira from Movistar, Magnus Cort. Plenty of drop riders to look at with
It is Johnny Moscon, number 5 from Ineos. There he is, Roman. 2019 has been a write-off. This is a man who's finished second overall in the Tour de France. 30-plus riders surrounding the yellow jersey, and Bardet is not amongst them.
I'll be surprised if Romain Bardet finishes this Tour de France. It's been a complete disaster. I don't know what the exact reason is, just lack of form. Is there an illness or injury that's been kept quiet and he's being found out? But this is not where he should be in this current sort of form.
Is that Simon Yates? It is Simon Yates, the winner of the stage in the Bagnères de Bigorre.
No, it wouldn't surprise me about Simon Yates, though, that he was so far back in the peloton that 80 riders have been dropped in front of him, and that is that gap, and he'll ride his way back across it.
With Koski now being dropped for Ineos, so they're starting to be strung out. Still 3 riders in that group from Jumbo. George Bennett, the Kiwi climber, and also their number 1 man, Steven Kruijswijk. And Kruijswijk is well placed overall in 3rd position. Oh, that's a horrible sign.
4 kilometres to the top of the Col de Sulur.
The individual time trial is called the Test of Truth, the Race of Truth. Maybe Adam Yates has been exposed.
As you said, nowhere to hide in the TT. When they're riding this sort of pace in the mountains, there's also nowhere to hide. If he quickly found out that has happened to Romain Bardet, it is happening to others. We still have the Or category climb of the Col de Tourmalet to come. It's Amador who's turning the screws at the front along with
It is Yates, Silver Rise, it's Adam Yates. Mitchelton Scott, they built their tour around Adam Yates. Maybe they had an inside running. They thought Yates wasn't at his best. His brother Simon fights back. Come on, Adam, let's get on. Even if he does, the signs are bad for the Tourmalet that awaits.
He follows the pace of his twin brother, but that gap also just opening up very slightly. He's already in this much trouble on the Sulur. That looks...
Game over.
That looks like game over for the rest of the day, you're right.
It's game over for his objectives in this race. He's been 4th in the past. He's won the white jersey as the best young rider. Mitchelton Scott now, they can't back him to try and finish high overall, surely.
They can't give up yet on this stage. They've got to hope it's just a bad moment and he'll ride his way through it and come good late in the stage. It's a very short stage and quite a quick start coming off the back of the time trial. Super intense effort. They've got to hope again. That's what it is, but it's not looking good.
This is just the start, Robbie. Another big day in the Pyrenees tomorrow. There's a really bad signs for Adam Yates. And Jack Haig has dropped back. Number 103 has dropped back to support Adam Yates. Number 56, that's Rudy Millar from Groupama FDJ. More riders being distanced. This is the front of the race, and Vincenzo Nibali, 2.6 kilometres remaining, is up in the tempo. He's responding to the move by Tim Wellens.
Wellens, he's on the hunt for the 10 points available at the top of this Category 1 climb. Nibali, he just sees an opportunity to get rid of a few more, go on the hunt for a stage win. And trying to herd one of the spectators out of the way as the peloton come. Good work from the spectators.
The spectators were good yesterday with Wout van Aert, with the cow on the side of the road. Even better today. It was impressive.
Sorry, man, I had to milk it while I had the opportunity.
Boom, boom. Bad jokes right at the fall. Wellens at the front, followed by Nibali. They're only 1:16 ahead of the closing peloton with the yellow jersey. Still there, Julian Alaphilippe. Zakarin now responds. He is the next to go.
Zakarin really has been the aggressor since they got onto the Col de Soulur, and he is looking like it. First week in this Tour de France. The Russian, he's going across, straight past Total Direct Energy rider.
Almajan, I think that'll be Sikar. That'll be Roman Sikar, perhaps. Let's go a little bit
Already
closer.
gone? No, it is.
It's Almajan.
That's Leonard Kamna, the next man in the row.
This is Andre Amador, followed by Marc Soler. Movistar making a real mark on this race. Dylan Van Baal is still in that group. This is Fabio Aru at the back of the peloton. Number 136, that is Volker Mollema. Rue is starting to get back towards what we expect from the Italian. Romain Bardet, though, is not. This is moral support for Romain Bardet from Michael Chirel and Tony Gallopin. This has nothing with trying to save his hopes in this year's Tour de France. This is about supporting the person, not the animal.
Supporting the person, this could leave these riders with a long and lonely ride for themselves if Bardet decides this is it and steps off. It would not surprise me.
Michael Chirel and Tony Gallopin. The 32 is Bardet's roommate throughout the tour. They are very close personal friends. Tony Gallopin is one of the statesmen of the team. They're in no fear of being eliminated, even if Bardet does stop. Rui Costa is the rider who's with them in the white colours from UAE. Nibali in red. Gisbert now going forward. One of the big results for Ali Gisbert's career was a solo, and that was in the Tour d'Avenir. So he's a guy who can climb, and he is proving it today. 22-year-old Leonard Kamna in the red colours fighting the stick with the more experienced Ilmar Zakarin.
Well, Zakarin's come across a big gap. You saw the acceleration from the rest of the group. You've got to wonder what it didn't go with him in the first place. He's making inroads. Wellens in polka dots. Vincenzo Nibali in the red and blue of Bahrain. Gilbert up there as well. Zakarin coming across. Kamna going in the wrong direction.
He's climbing well. It looks awkward, but it is very effective.
He's getting close, but he's not carrying the momentum he had. And Nibali, he ups the tempo again. He doesn't want a good climber like Zakarin with him, so go a bit quicker, make it harder for him. Happy with a group like take care of these two on the Tourmalet. And it's only a minute and a half to the peloton. You've got to race with everything you've got all the way through.
And based on the interview that we heard earlier on with Tim Wellens, he's part finish line racing for those 10 points in the King of the Mountains classification. So he's all in to the midway point on the stage. Vincenzo Nibali is thinking about the finish line at the Tourmalet. And Alejandro Valverde was still in the yellow jersey group.
A lot of Spanish fans on the road, a lot of the Basque fans. You just saw one of the Basque flags off to the right-hand side. Opa, Mikel, they're out supporting their riders, the Basque, and they're just fantastic.
Volker Mollema now is being dropped, so Richie Port for Trek Segafredo looks as if in that group with the yellow jersey, Port is on his own. Nibali sprinting to the top of this climb. Stage victories and maybe even the King of the Mountains jersey. He's got the current leader of that classification with him. Wellens up alongside the Shark of Messina. A little look across to each other.
Vincenzo Nibali spoke pre-tour, before he knew Chris Froome wouldn't start, about coming to the Tour, going for stages, and maybe for the polka dot jersey. Nibali, Wellens has got him pinned up against the crowd. The Belgian will be too quick.
The sprint on for the points. Tim Wellens, he just nudged Vincenzo Nibali smartly into the crowd. The gate with Wellens reeled into the boats. He hits the brakes over the top.
But intentions are clear. He'd love a stage win, but he's starting to think a little bit longer term than that as well. 28 seconds behind.
And I'm not backing Ilmar Zakarin to catch Vincenzo Nibali on the descents.
Not only that, he'll be losing a lot of time.
I'm certain Nibali has gone back to plan A and chasing a spot on the podium in Paris would be a polka dot jersey. Soignier at the top, fresh bidon for Ilmar Zakarin. And it's Andre Amador who is on the front for Movistar, and the yellow jersey of Julian Alaphilippe is right behind Miguel Landa.
You want to put me under pressure, huh? I'll just come and ride on the back of your team. You're riding for me. I'm happy here.
Movistar with 5 riders in that group and 1 still to catch on the road. Carlos Ferraro. So too number 3, which is John Rivero. This is Andre Amador, the world champion, his teammate. Valverde.
This takes me back to last year's Tour de France. We saw some really aggressive riding by the Movistar team. Very tactical as well, sending riders up the road, attacking board a teammate to make some pace in between climbs. In the end, it blew up in their face and they were dropped. But this is a real show of force.
Richie Ford is there, Thibaut Pinot, Bennett, Cruz Bike, Rigoberto Urán there in the pink colours. Teammate with him. You would assume that it is Michael Woods, although Michael Woods has had a few crashes. Kenga, the Estonian from that team, is also a world-class climber.
Movistar with Andre Amador on the front will be looking to not only have good pressure on the climb, but be putting pressure on the descent. Amador is a very good descender. He'll be dragging them down there very quickly indeed. Adam Yates still not onto the back of this group. It does look to be. You just go on the climb on the Col de Soleil.
It's definitely lights out for Romain Bardet. The Mitchelton Scott team, they've been able to pick up a couple of stage victories already. Soon we'll be hearing from Nicola Portal, the sports director for Ineos. This is Gisbert, and this is Wellens in front of him. And in the distance you can't see him, it'll be Nibali, and it is one of the best descenders in the world.
It is pressure on. Vincenzo Nibali also realises we're just a minute and a half back to the... This is a place he can take advantage of some cautious riding back there to open up the gap and really have a crack at the stage with.
If you like watching fast descending, I suggest you get online and you have a look at Vincenzo Nibali descending off the Poggio last year to win Milan-San Remo ahead of the sprinters. That was one of the best descents you're ever likely to watch. Nibali put on a masterclass, and he is the professor of descending this afternoon. Straightens up and Wellens is able to get back to him, but as soon as they're in the corners, Nibali opens the gap again. Fromage of the Pyrenees. And plenty of cows to help with production of that cheese.
And here is the reinforcement for Movistar.
This is Carlos Verona. He will stay on the front and drive it through the Valley Road. They're really putting this race under pressure. Wellens, Nibali, Gisbert.
But Quintana has his heart set on a big performance. And not just an emotional, it's got to be this day because of the date. Nairo Quintana will be feeling really good. He'll be having great confidence in his own ability. Saw him do it last year when the roads got above 2,000 metres altitude. He would not have his team ride like this. He wasn't feeling in the right.
Last year that win, high altitude finish above 2,000 metres, shortest road stage of the race. Today, shortest road stage of the race, high altitude finish above 2,000 metres. All the ingredients are there for Nairo Quintana. And I'm going to view his form this year better than it was last year.
And it seems to suit him really well. A short stage that's intense from start to finish. No let up, no tempo riding on the climbs. Keep everybody at the limit for as long as possible. And then when he gets to those higher altitudes, where we have often seen the Colombians come into their own, another man that's liking this is Rigoberto Urán.
Being relaxed at the back, a classic Rigoberto Urán, rockstar style, comes in late. He's got everything just at his feet. He'll never panic, Rigoberto Urán. He was very good in the time trial yesterday. I think Rigoberto Urán can win today's stage.
I think he can. I'm leaning towards Quintana.
I'm leaning to Urán.
One of the other Colombians we'd expected so for France yesterday, that was Egan Bernal.
And today, surely he has to work for Geraint Thomas.
You would think so. Egan Bernal, he said himself yesterday, after the time trial, it was a bad day to have a bad day. Who knows if he's already back, but I think you're right. hierarchy in that team now has got to be first for Thomas. If Bernal doesn't have to work, see what he can also do to stay up there.
Green jersey Robbie in the mountains. Peter Sagar hasn't yet been caught by yellow.
A bit of discomfort early on as we come past Nicholas and Sam Felix in Polka. But Peter Sagar got himself into the breakaway, helped his friend Vincenzo Nibali get away. Once the pace went on the Souleur, ease it back, roll over the top, relax on the descent, on for a free ride, and he'll come up to the top of the full lane to collect another green jersey. Hearing through our race centre, Adam Yates is still 30 seconds behind this group. There's a little bit more descending to come. I'm not so sure they can close 30 seconds. Simon and Adam plus Jack Haig.
This is Vincenzo Nibali in the red colour. Leader of the King of the Mountains classification in third spot, Tim Wellens. He's extended his advantage today. Vincenzo Nibali wants the polka dot jersey. He's shown all the signs. He said that he was aiming for stages and the King of the Mountains jersey. It was only when those guys had their bad luck with the crashes that he started to talk about it. There's the gap for Adam Yates behind the peloton. 10 to the course, the leading breakaway group of 3, they're off in the distance. Yates could almost see the convoy of cars behind the peloton. I think he will be able to make contact again. He's spent a lot of energy in the process and a lot of energy of his brother Simon and his teammate Jack Hay.
Well, over the last 2 minutes, they haven't got any closer. They're still at 31 seconds. In fact, they were in 29. They are losing a little bit of time to this group. I'm not confident for them.
It's been a stage winner at the Tour of Limousine. He was 5th at the Mont Blanc 2 Challenge earlier on this year. He's riding the Tour for the 3rd time. He's only 24. He's got a lot of experience for a 24-year-old. Gap for Yates, it's only a couple of 100 metres behind that main peloton. I do think he'll get there, but then they pay a really hefty price. But look at the gap for Romain Bardet. He's almost 3 kilometres behind the yellow jersey group. Here is a chat with Yates before the start of the stage. Oh, sorry, a little bit of confusion. Yates is at 10 seconds behind. Next, we're going to be hearing from Thibaut Pinot. So Yates is at 10 seconds behind. He will get there.
Well, if I knew Yates, well, he was at 30 seconds like we were seeing, but that wasn't his group.
They've created the barrage, though, Robbie, to make him earn every metre. It's going to be difficult. I thought the convoy was going to be the launching pad to get him there. The UCI, the commissaires, have done the right thing by creating that barrage.
They have. Not in this race situation. You do not get a free ride back across when you're a contender and you've been dropped.
Let's now go back to the start of the race. Thibaut Pinot, the Frenchman from Groupama FDJ's Jack Haig is closing it down. Yates will return. Makes a very good point, Thibaut Pinot. You can only make a plan that your legs can execute. Clearly, he's confident, though, with the amount of work we've seen his teammates doing from Groupama FDJ. This is the second group on the road. The red colours at the back of that group. That was Ilmar Zachary. These are the riders they're chasing, and again into a technical part of the descent, and the gap that has been opened up by Vincenzo Nibali. As soon as it gets technical, Vincenzo puts distance into his breakaway companions. 57 seconds the gap for the chasers. Zachary has been caught by Luis Leon Sanchez and others.
The problem for Vincenzo Nibali gapping these two who have been working smoothly with him, puts himself on his own, and he's got an 18-kilometre section through the sprint, through the feed zone, and to the foot of the Tourmalet. He'd be much better off with 3. He's only a few seconds in front. He'll probably ease up and wait. It'll be the best thing to do in terms of going for the stage win.
He's already around the next corner as Wellens and Gisbert still exiting the previous.
So they'll come back together. I think it's Vincenzo Nibali just making sure they push on as fast as possible, give them something to chase, also gives them a marker on the descent. Follow my line. He's 3-4 seconds in front. They see his entry point, a little bit of braking, they can judge it much better too, makes them better descenders.
And the complete opposite to that, in the group at 28 seconds, Ilmar Zakharin went over the top of the climb, ahead of Sanchez, Zikar, Kamna and Kalmajan. He's now been caught by those four riders. Position in that group, and every single corner they go through, this is the peloton containing the yellow jersey of Julian Alaphilippe as it swells again. Number 3, Jonathan Castoriviejo returns.
Yep, so Yates is back there. Guy coming into the race as a genuine contender, having before finished 4th overall, having won the white jersey for the best young rider in the Tour de France in the past. And then being dropped on the Category 1 climb when the real focus of the day is the big one at the end, the Tourmalet, the all-category climb to the finish. His morale has taken a beating.
It has a real beating. He needs a fresh start, Romain Bardet. He looks like he needs a holiday. Not just physically, but psychologically, perhaps more so than even physically.
Formed on the Salur is going to come back together before we get to the foot of the Tourmalet.
And I fear Nibali today is hurting his chances for a future stage victory. 48 seconds in front of the yellow jersey group. Surely they'll be caught on the Col de Tourmalet. 1 kilometre to the intermediate sprint. Nibali, though, he's a man with loads of experience. And he's a guy that traditionally in Grand Tours gets better into the 3rd week. Here are the chasers. They've cleared out all the vehicles, not even the Mavic neutral service with the motorbike in between these two groups. It's only 11 seconds. And 48 seconds back to the peloton.
Well, everything closing in. And I think we're going to have a complete front peloton of sorts, a small one, but a complete group when we get to the foot of the Tourmalet. There's Andre Amador, and along with Carlos Verona, that will be their job done. Get to the foot of the Tourmalet, and it's going to be up to the likes of Marc Soler, Alejandro Valverde, Mikel Landa, and Nairo Quintana to see if they can complete the execution of the plan.
I'd like to know the mood inside the Ineos team car, whether they are feeling the pressure of Movistar. That's what Movistar is trying to achieve. They want to put the team of the defending champion under pressure.
They also want to put Alaphilippe under pressure. Yates back of the peloton looking for drinks, both Simon and Adam.
Almost at the intermediate sprint. Wellens in front. Gisbert in 2nd position. Nibali in red. This will not impact on the leaderboard in the battle for the green jersey. Wellens won over the top of the 2nd climb on today's stage, the Col de Salur, and he will win the intermediate sprint. Gisbert at 24 showing real maturity, not disrupting the rhythm. Nibali's not interested in this month prize.
Tim Wellens, I doubt he believes in his chances to win the stage, even to take points on the Tourmalet, so just getting whatever he can out of the rest of this stage, the Belgian, and that's why that longer turn. So I'll do a much longer one, just roll through the sprint point as first. Still a few points left on the line for the chasing peloton. I'm sure we'll see Peter Sagan also do a turn through the intermediate sprint point to just add to his total and extend what is already a very large lead in the points competition.
And then once they get to the other side of town, it will then be into the feed zone. Peter Sagan down the green jersey, making the most of the minor points that are on offer. No need to look over the shoulder, Peter. There is no one in that group that will challenge you today. Extends his lead further, on target for 7th victory in the points classification. 3 riders from Middleton Scott at the back of the group.
This is Martial, Notre-Dame de Sanson and Saint-Savin.
And this one, Benedictine monastery that was founded around about the 9th century on the ruins of an old Roman palace. In 945, the Counts of Bigorre richly endowed the abbey by purchasing the land and giving them the opportunity with the Benedictine order to build the abbey in this position. It was declared part of the national estate during the French Revolution, and throughout the 1990s, they did a lot of refurbishment, and it now houses a museum of religious art.
This is the Pic Midi d'Ossau, high in the Pyrenees. The Midi de Bigorre. The observatory we saw earlier on in the broadcast, right at the start, even overlooking the Tourmalet, well above, around 3,000 metres, just a touch under, just 2,850 something.
Correct. That's roughly what it stands at. It was good to see earlier on as well. There was somebody there dressed up as an astronaut today, marking the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. This is the leading group. Calmajan at the back in the blue colours of Total Direct Energy. He's found his form. He, by his own admission, was really struggling in the first group. He's now been in a couple of important breakaways. Wellens with the King of the Mountains jersey. Nibali collecting the musette bag from the side of the road. If you have just joined us, let's now take a look back at the stage so far and show you what you might have missed out on. This is the Bardet group with pretty much all of his teammates around him. 7 riders from AG to Le Mondial in this group. The only one missing, Alexei Zulimov, a good spot there. That's a sad sight to look at the size of this group. Non-climbers in here and lots of them.
Missing a lot of sprinters. This is Roman Sicard at the front of the race for Total Direct Energy. Getting himself onto the foot of the Tourmalet first as they ride up the valley road. Vincenzo Nibali, he continues to tap out the rhythm. Don't worry about attacking up the road. Let's try and work together, see if we can possibly open this gap. The Peloton take their foot off the gas through the feed zone. We might be able to take a few more seconds.
For Roman Sicard of Total Direct Energy, this is as close as he'll get to his home region. He's from the Basque country on the French side of the border.
Looking to impress the family and the fans and not taking their foot off the gas whatsoever is Team Movistar.
There is Saga. In the break, mopping up the points from that main peloton of intermediate sprint. There's Sicard in the distance, opening up a small advantage.
The rest of the group seem to be letting Vincenzo Nibali, or putting the pressure on Vincenzo Nibali to do the bulk of the work in the pacemaking on the front of this group. And that time gap is coming down 39 seconds, 40. It's going up a little bit for Sicard, but that main part of that breakaway group are drifting back towards the peloton.
10 years ago, he was the big hope of French cycling. He won the Tour Avenir for the future stars of the Tour de France. The same year, in a really hilly course in Mendrisio, the World Championships in Switzerland, he won the under-23 road race solo. Intermediate sprint, Wellens collecting the 20 points for Peter Sagan in 9th position with 7 more points in the race for green. Here he is, Roman Sicard, our sole leader at 31 seconds ahead of the yellow jersey group.
And it's a technical descent, so you've got to think of those numbers in terms of a really winding technical descent where you don't get a long straight section to build up really high speed for a long period. 3.2 kilometres to the climb of today's stage. It is an all-category climb, and at the top, as well as the stage win, there's also the Souvenir Jacques Godet, the prize, going to the winner on top of the Tourmalet. The highest point in the Pyrenees they'll race. It's the highest paved road in the French Pyrenees.
Not too far away from the Spanish border, super motivated today, and the Colombian star, Nairo Quintana, is priority number 1. Fear, in a similar way to Simon Clark when he was in the breakaway, that once they hit the bottom of the climb, the tank will be empty, and Roman Sicard did with the most combative prize. He has not won a race in the Pro Peloton. 10 years since his last victory at the 123 World Championships in Mendrisio 2009. He break it down into bite-sized pieces. Now he breaks it down into this 20-kilometre climb.
This is really good for Sicard. Tailwind up the valley, and he's pushing the lead out to nearly a minute and a half now.
Mikel Landa now on the radio. He's had a tough tour, one disrupted by bad luck.
But you never know what you're going to get with Mikel Landa. She said priority number one for Movistar is Nairo Quintana. I'm wondering if that's just what they're telling Mikel Landa now as a reminder. Yeah, but the enigmatic Spaniard so often does whatever he wants.
And he's reported to be going to Bahrain Merida next year. Quintana reported to be going to RKS Samsung. And Movistar are on the hunt for Enric Mas, who wears the white jersey today at the Koenig Quickstep.
His interview this morning, he said, we're going to give everything for Julian. We are starting to believe he can get to Paris in yellow.
Underneath the 20-kilometre marker, the climb of the Tourmalet is about to start. Just nags away uphill. This is a gradient of around about 2% or so, maybe even a little bit more than that for Roman. As the real climb for the Frenchman is about to start. Here come the chasers. Gisbert at the front, followed then by Calmejane. When you're not here throughout the Tour de France, it really is a very peaceful, calming region. This is the Chateau Sainte-Marie, which we're now getting a chance to look at. This was built by the Count of Bigorre back in the 10th century. It housed also the Hospital of St. John, later the Knights of Malta, then the English garrison during the 100 Years' War. There are the numbers, 19 kilometres.
These are the first chasers. Elie Gilbert, the man in white and black. Lilian Calmejane.
Still Movistar at the front. Astana coming around the outside, making sure that they position Jakob Fuglsang. Richie Porte is in there with one teammate. He's got Volker Mollema for support.
And Richie Porte, he has promised that he is going to for when the big mountains start. That is today. He said he's feeling fresh, he's feeling good, he's feeling confident, despite losing a lot of time. He's ready to go.
He has always spoken about week 3. And the Alps are still to come. Col de Tourmalet. Carlos Verona, one last time to the well.
Peter Sagan and the men around him, they've decided that is enough. We're going to get to the finish okay. With him, Ilnur Zakarin, the man who was in the breakaway. Also, Vincenzo Nibali, Tis Benoit, he will play no further role.
And Kamna, who was in that earlier breakaway. So once they realise they're caught, save the energy and look for the next opportunity to try and win a stage. Gisbert at the front for RKS Samsung. It's still Movistar. Ineos, still with plenty of riders in that group. They've still got 4 there. It looks like Jonathan Castroviejo has returned, and Mikhail Kwiatkowski. 3 riders in there for Jumbo-Visma. Supporting Stephen Kruijswijk, George Bennett and Lawrence de Plus.
This is now Gilbert going away from Lilian Calmejane and going in search of Roman Sicard.
Calmejane had been sitting behind him the whole time. Shows the strength of Gisbert.
At least for Elie Gilbert, he had that tailwind up the valley, so it didn't make a lot of difference to him. He's chasing that one man in front. Now he goes in search of Sicard. The peloton, they are around 45 seconds behind him.
The 24-year-old riding the Tour for the none of him. Or have they? No, they haven't. Not just yet. They should be. Because this is the man he is chasing. This is Roman Sicard. One last Guidon crack. The steady nature of this climb, it does suit Geraint Thomas. And Dylan Van Baarle.
I agree with you completely. It suits Thomas. It does get steep at the top. But remember what he did on the Planche de Belfi when the gradients were up to 24%. Really interrupted. The altitude training camp snowed out. The crash in the Tour de Suisse today will give us a much better indication than yesterday did in the time trial. Shelton, Julien Alaphilippe.
Also in that group, Jakob Fuglsang was there for this starter team. He's got quite a few teammates around him. The white colours of the UAE Emirates. Dan Martin is in the group. Rigoberto Urán is. He has Volker Mollema as Elie Gilbert is getting across to Roman Sicard. And he is at his limits. Off from the front of the peloton for the Movistar team. It's now Andre Amador who is setting the pace. Roman Sicard, well, As they force the pressure, or have a little bit of a rest. It's a little bit of a rest, he'll have a drink, and then he needs to maintain this rhythm. Somehow, easier said than done.
Because it's not quick enough, he needs to go straight past it, which he does.
Straight away. He's showing real maturity for a 24-year-old.
And looking straight away, it wasn't a look as if saying, are you coming with me? Am I dropping you already?
And he is. That is the answer. Not happy with the tempo. This has been impressive.
So Elie Gilbert, he's offloaded Kalmajan out of his wheel. He's ridden across to his teammate Sicard, and he's also got rid of him. And it's the young Frenchman from Arkea Samsic who now pushes on the lower slopes of the Tourmalet.
It's nice to be having this conversation about him as opposed to Gianni Moscov. Let's put that behind us as Elie Gilbert is applying the pressure at the front, hunting for a stage victory.
More riders out the back now. Lutsenko and Luis Leon Sanchez from Astana going out the back of the bunch. Their job is done for today. They've supported Jakob Fuglsang. This is Kalmajan. He's been swallowed up and spat out.
Wait, back to the peloton. Mitchelton Scott out of the saddle. That looked like one of the Yates brothers.
It looked more like Adam's style than Simon's, but he didn't get a read of the number. And of course, being identical twins, it is somewhat difficult.
And Alejandro Valverde, Carlos Quintana. In that group, Miguel Landa. So well represented at the front of the Movistar team. 10% grading.
This is Gilbert, the young French peloton. He's matching Andre Amador, pedal stroke for pedal stroke, but there's still more to come from Movistar. Marc Soler lining up behind, ready to do a turn of pace.
Behind Alaphilippe is his teammate in white, and that is the best young rider, Enric Mas, the facial expression of Egan Bernal.
Bearing the teeth, Dan Martin gone once and returned. Now it's gone twice. I don't see him coming back again. It's went to a very, very warm day out there as well. The Spaniards, they'll be loving it. Maybe the Welshmen less so.
Yellow everywhere, but it's a man in white for Arkea Samsic. The smallest or the second smallest budget in the race, Arkea Samsic, behind Wanty Group Goubert, and their 24-year-old French climber, Elie Gilbert, is the man who was leading the charge up one of the most famous climbs in the history of the Tour. The 83rd time onto the Col de Tourmalet, first scaled in 1910 in this race. Still Movistar, still Amador. As Volker Mollema somehow has made his way to the front of that group. He's been yo-yoing on and off the back. He's towed Richie Porte around. He's been there to support him. Volker Mollema is doing an outstanding job.
Well, Porte back towards the back of the group again. So Mollema, he brought Porte up towards the front, right up to the wheel of Julien Alaphilippe. It's dropped further back.
This is Mollema with the yellow helmet on and the white and red colours. Trek Segafredo leading the team's classification. EF in the pink colours, Education First. They have Rigoberto Urán and Tanel Kangat in that group.
Really a game effort by Elie Gilbert, riding against the same man over the last 10 or 12 kilometres now. Andre Amador, only 11 kilometres to go. There's been a super effort by the Costa Rican on the front of the peloton, still with Soler, Valverde, Landa and Quintana to come.
Right into instruction at the front, Andre Amador. Access to the Pic de Midi, the observation tower that we saw some footages of a little earlier. Number 91, Rigoberto Urán, hard to read the body language, often sits towards the back, rode well on the time trial yesterday.
Yeah, some riders prefer to just drift through the group, not hold one position, but go with how the legs feel. Castroviejo, he's dropped, he'll switch things off and just roll his way up to the top.
No benefit in Castroviejo trying to limit the damage, he needs to actually save the energy for the next day, as you alluded to moments ago.
Team Ineos, they don't think about it as the individual's energy reserve, it's the team's energy reserve, and you're a part of that machine. It's done for Amador. Huge job by number 63, the Costa Rican.
That was impressive. That is what a domestic does when they empty the tank. He has come to a grinding halt. Bilbao now number 72 for Astana. He is really suffering.
Well, now Marc Soler will have gone to the front of the group for Movistar. Richie Porte starts to move up because it's becoming more urgent, more important to sit forward. Riders are now starting to be offloaded. Balcamola going back as well. Nairo Quintana now a long way in the back of the group.
And a long way forward in the saddle, which is always a sign of suffering. Number 12 is Emmanuel Buchmann. He's in 6th place overall. 91 is Rigoberto Uran. The French champion who says he wants to be a car salesman, Warren Barguil, is at the front. Don't worry about selling cars, worry about winning bike races. You're one of the best in the world. The peace and quiet, the tranquility at the top. Ali Gisbert about to be caught, but this is deserving of the red number for the most combative. He should get a spot on the podium.
It's been a great ride by Gilbert. Richie Porte again, another acceleration. So just hopping around riders who are starting to be distanced.
This is Roman Kreuziger, the best placed overall for Dimension Data. Start of the day in 19th. He fights on. He will fight all the way to the finish to limit the damage.
Aru now also being dropped. No surprise, it's the start of a big comeback.
Quintana is being dropped. Movistar doing all the work at the front, and Nairo Quintana is being dropped.
Well, this is now a huge surprise.
Now it's all for Mikel Landa. Number 8, that is Dylan van Baal. It's been extraordinary for the Dutchman to survive this long. He's a specialist for the classics such as the Tour of Flanders and Paris-Roubaix.
Well, after Quintana, the next is Alejandro Valverde, but he is the man at the front of the group.
It's for Landa. This is for Mikel Landa, who is 3rd in line for Movistar. It's Soler, Valverde, the world champion, then Mikel Landa.
So maybe those injuries for Quintana are much worse than we thought. He said, don't make a big deal of it. It'll only make the people at home worry. Well,